Slaughter goes on to second. It's a fly ball on the hit and run that drops just inside the right field line. Goodman comes over, fields the ball. Slaughter is held up at third, and Medwick goes on to second. A double for Medwick, just inside the right field line, going for a bad ball on the hit and run with Slaughter racing to third. That ball drops perhaps 50 feet back to first base. So it's Medwick on second, Slaughter on third, and big Johnny Mize comes up. Bill Schaffner, left-handed pitcher, formerly of the Boston Bees, used now generally in relief by the Reds, starts warming up in the bullpen. They're passing Johnny Mize. Here's the next pitch outside, ball two. Thompson goes outside again, ball three. Here's the fourth one, ball four. So Mize is purposely passed, putting Mize on first, Medwick on second, Slaughter on third, two out, the bases are loaded, and Don Padgett, who is catching this game today, comes up, batting left-handed. Mike Gonzalez coaching at third, Fuzzy Wares coaching at first for the Cards. Thompson winds up. Here's the pitch to Padgett. Padgett goes for it. The ground ball is short. It's picked up by Myers, who crosses the Ronnie Fry, forcing Mize at second. Padgett grounding to shortstop Billy Myers, who tossed to Ronnie Fry, forcing Johnny Mize at second for the third out. Side is retired. No run. 2 hits. No errors, and the bases were left filled. Now we go to the last half of the first inning. Not much chance to give you any of the color, and as much as the game had already started by the time we came on the air. There's a crowd today that will number pretty close to 30,000 by the time it all gets in. There are some of the reserve seats that have not as yet been filled, but the tickets have been sold, and even if the folks don't show up, we'll have the tickets. There's a crowd milling around the outside of Crosley Field trying to get in. Well, Kurt Davis goes out onto the mound, starts throwing experimentally with Mickey Owen, but it'll be Don Padgett who will catch this first game. The infield for the Cardinals made up of Johnny Mize at first, Stuart Martin at second, Jimmy Brown at short, Don Gutteridge at third. The outfield, Joe Medwick at left, Kerry Moore in center, and Enos Slaughter in right field. The first 3 batters to come up for the Reds will be Werber, Fry, and Goodman. Billy Werber is playing in his 143rd game of the season, hitting .292, has been attacked 583 times, and has 169 hits. Billy Werber up at the plate. Padgett gives the sign to Kurt Davis. The right-hander winds up, and here's the pitch. Curveball is hit, a high bouncing ball back of the mound, taken by Don Gutteridge. The ball is knocked out of his hand as he collides with Davis on the mound. Gutteridge is charged with an error. The ball was a high bounder hit in front of the plate, bounced high in the air and up to the left of the mound. Don Gutteridge, the third baseman, Jimmy Brown, the shortstop, and Kurt Davis all went for it. The ball was caught out of the air by Gutteridge, but he smashed into Kurt Davis and dropped the ball and is charged with an error. That brings up Lonnie Fry, playing his 121st game, batting .295, 137 hits and 464 times at bat. Here's the first pitch to Fry. He bunts out in front of the mound. It's picked up by Kurt Davis, who throws the first cover by Johnny Mize. Fry is out, and Werber takes second on the sacrifice. Fry sacrificing, going out Davis to Johnny Mize. Kicker to the first baseman who covered. That brings up Ivel Grissom, right fielder, left-handed batter, playing his 120th game of the season, batting .325, 147 hits and 453 times at bat. Werber on second. The stretch is by Kurt Davis. He looks back at second. Here's the pitch to Ivel Grissom. He swings and follows the first pitch back into the screen. As he gets under it, strike one. Warming up in the bullpen for the St. Louis Cards. It's Werber on second. No score on the game. Last half of the first inning. One away. Stretched by Kurt Davis. Here's the pitch to Goodman. Goodman goes for it. Hits the fly ball out in left center field. Joe Medwick backs out. He's out of it. Takes it for the second out. Goodman flying out to Medwick in left center field for the second out. That brings up Frank McCormick, hitting in the cleanup spot. playing his 150th game. He's still looking for his 200th hit. The first hit he gets this afternoon will be his 200th. He's batting .328, has 199 hits in 607 times at bat. McCormick at the plate, bats right-handed. Werber on second, 2 out. No score, last half of the first inning. Don Patchett in the crowd gives the sign to Kurt Davis, who stretches, looks back at second. Here's the pitch to McCormick. He swings at a curve and misses for strike one. Jimmy Wilson coaching at first. Manager Bill McKechnie coaching at third for the Cincinnati Reds. Stretch again by Kurt Davis. Here's the pitch to Frank McCormick. A fastball. He hits it on the ground on toward short. It's picked up by Jimmy Brown, who gets it over to first to Johnny Mize for the third out. Side is retired. McCormick rounding out Brown to Mize. Side retired. No run. No hit. One error. One runner is left. Well, there's one inning of the ball game out of the way with no score. Each team having a chance to score. The Cards perhaps having a better chance of the two. One error has been committed. 2 hits. No hits so far off Kurt Davis. The sun is beginning to shine a little bit. Weather is more conducive to football perhaps today. That is in the shade at least than it is to baseball. Hardly cloudy overhead. A little blue sky beginning to show up here and there. This morning, very chilly here in Cincinnati. This afternoon, a little bit warmer. As we go to the top of the second inning with no score, it's Moore, Martin, and Davis, the first 3 batters to come up. Harry Moore will be the first batter. Comes up out of the dugout. The Reds dugout is to the left of home plate. The Cardinals dugout is to the right of home plate. The distances, for those of you who are not familiar with this park, to left field at the foul line, about a 20-foot fence, and the distance is 328 feet. And a ball hit out there today will be hit right directly into the wind. To the left of the scoreboard, which is in left center field, the distance is 282 feet. To the right of the scoreboard, in right center field, in left center field rather, is 383. To the right center field flagpole is 387 feet. To the right field line at the bleachers, 366. Harry Moore's up, that's right-handed. The first pitch is high, ball 1. 1 ball, no strike. Manager Ray Blake starting off with his ace pitcher, Kurt Davis. Wind up again by Thompson for fastball. It's lifted back on the plate foul and comes up into the screen. Lombardi comes back for it, but it's way out of his reach. The count is 1 ball, 1 strike. Umpire Larry Getz throws a new ball out to Bill Werber. The umpires are Larry Getz at first, Dave Pinelli at first, Larry Getz at the plate rather. Dave Pinelli at first, Vic Campbell at second, and Beans Reardon at third. Count is 1 ball, 1 strike. Gene Johnson winds up. Here's the pitch to Moore. Moore goes for it, lifts the foul to the left of the plate. Lombardi is coming back, but it's going back into the stands, out of reach. Goes back some 10 rows back into the stands. 1 ball, 2 strikes to count. Top of the second, no score. New ball is thrown out by umpire Larry Getz to Bill Werber. Werber always returns the ball to the pitcher. By that I mean that the ball is not thrown back to him by any other infielder. It's always given to Bill Werber. And then backs them out. Here's the windup. Here's the pitch to Moore. Inside. Ball 2. The count is even up. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Gary Moore is the right-handed batter. Back on the plate again. Gene Thompson winds up. Here it is. Fastball is hit on the ground. He broke his bat. Down the ground to short. Picked up by Bill Myers. Gets it over to first to McCormick. He's out. Moore grounding out Myers to McCormick. One away. That brings up Stuart Martin. Rather slender built second baseman for the St. Louis Cards. One away. Thompson winds up. He throws a curveball. It's hit weakly on the ground and foul. Back of Buzzy Wares. It was over for it. The ball rolls up against one of the officers. And they have coppers posted all along the stands this afternoon. And any player, or any fielder rather, any spectator who interferes with a fielder or player or a ball in play will be ejected. The next ball is hit on the ground to first. McCormick fields it. Makes the out unassisted. Although Gene Thompson is over there to take the throw if necessary. There have been 1 or two experiences this year where a ball in play has been grabbed by a spectator who wanted a souvenir of the game, and it has brought about some rather bad consequences. So the announcement has been frequently made of late here at Crosby Field that any spectator who interferes with a ball in play will be promptly ejected from the game. And it's rather surprising to see the effect that has on the spectators. They'll start for a ball, then remember that, and go right back to their seats as quickly as they can, leave it alone. Kurt Davis is a pretty fair hitter for a pitcher. Has been used a bit as a pinch hitter for the Cards. Here's the pitch to the right-handed batter. He pulled his swing as he started for an offside curve, and it's ball one. We're in the top of the second with no score. First game of the doubleheader. Thompson throws a fastball that misses the inside corner. It's ball two. 2 balls and no strikes. Thompson goes back to the rosin bag. Here's the windup. Here's the next pitch. Fastball. He swings and fouls it into the dirt back of the plate, and it rolls back to the stand. Or strike one. 2 balls and 1 strike to count. 2 off. Nobody on. New ball. Goes into Gene Thompson. Kurt Davis in the meantime. Out of the batter's box. Now he steps back up again. Here's the windup, and here it is. Fastball is hit on the line. Out to left field. Myers jumps forward, but can't get it. It's a hit. Throws out to Wally Berger, who fields it. Berger gets it into second. It's a single for Kurt Davis. That is the third hit off Gene Thompson. Davis on first with a single to left. That brings up Jimmy Brown, who was thrown out by Gene Thompson just as he came on the air in the first inning. Takes a stretch. Davis on first. Here's the pitch. Brown goes forward, hits the ground ball down to second. Lonnie Fry knocks it down and can't hang on to it. Is charged with an error. Davis on second. Brown is on first on Lonnie Fry's error. So that puts Brown on first. Davis on second, 2 out, and brings up Don Gutteridge, who flied out to Berger in left center field in the first inning, his first time up. Brown is on first and second, 2 out. Thompson ran into his trouble in the first inning with 2 out. Gutteridge bats right-handed. He's the third baseman for the Cards. Stretched by Thompson. And here's the pitch. It's a fly ball to the right of the plate. Ernie Lombardi goes after it, circles around under it, and takes it for the final out. Gutteridge fouling out to Ernie Lombardi just to the right of the plate. Side retired. No run. 1 hit. 1 error, and 2 runners for that. Now we go to the last half of the second inning of this first game of the doubleheader, both games of which we're planning to broadcast this afternoon. The first 3 batters will be Lombardi, Kraft, and Berger. Top coat in evidence this afternoon, sweaters and jackets, not very many people in shirt sleeves. Out there in the right field bleachers where the sun is beginning to bear down, just a mob of humanity, and they are sitting pretty much in their shirt sleeves. But in the grandstand themselves, out of the protection of the benefit, rather, of the sun, you find regular coats, sweaters, leather jackets, and things of that sort, pretty much enough. Ernie Lombardi coming up for the first time in the game. He bats right-handed, is playing in his 129th game of the season. At the batting average, rather surprisingly low for Big Lom, who last year was leading the National League and went on to win the National League batting crown. Batting .286 at the present time. 126 and hits in 441 times at that. Davis winds up. Here it is. The fly ball going out toward right field. Slaughter is going for it fast. He can't get it. It bounces off the right field bleacher screen. Lombardi goes on to second and pulls up at second with a double. For Lombardi, that's his 26th double of the season. For those of you who are not familiar with Crosby Field, may I explain that in all 3 fields, left, center, and right field, there is an elevated terrace that in left field moves up toward the wall, in center field moves up toward the wall, and in right field moves up toward the bleachers. A little fence possibly 2.5 to 3 feet high, all the way across the front of the right field bleachers, and then there's a screen part way up. Any ball hit into that screen is in play. Any ball hit over the screen goes for a home run. Lombardi on second. Harry Kraft is up. Right-handed batter, center fielder. Kraft hitting .258 at the present time. Here's the pitch to Kraft, outside, ball 1. Harry is playing his 130th game of the season. Batting average of .258, made up of 125 hits in 485 times at bat. Lombardi on second. Infield not bothering much with him. Here's the next pitch to Kraft. It's a curveball. Kraft swings and misses for strike 1. Clyde Down and Bob Bowman, a left-hander and right-hander respectively, are warming up in the right field bullpen. Ball to St. Louis Card. Davis gets the sign from Don Padgett. Lombardi on second. Here's the next pitch to Harry Kraft. Curveball. He started for it. Didn't pull his swing in time, and it's called a strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes to count. Harry tried to check his swing on that. That's double by Lombardi, by the way. The first hit off Kurt Davis in this ball game. Stretch by Davis. Here's the pitch to Harry Kraft. Curveball misses the outside corner, and it evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. No score. Last half of the second. First game of the doubleheader. Lombardi taking his lead off second. Davis looks back there. No play is being made. Here's the pitch to Ryan Pride in the left field. They hit. Rolls off to Joe Medwick. Medwick fields it, fires it in. Lombardi is held at third. Harry Kraft singling to left. Lombardi taking third. That brings up Wally Burger. Wally playing his 93rd game of the season, batting .254, has 79 hits and 311 times at bat. A little conference out there on the mound around Kurt Davis. Wally's been hitting very well of late, however. Pulled his batting average up considerably. He's batting along in the 320s and low 330s most of the season. And the last 3 weeks, he's pulled his batting average up to 254. Runners on first and third. No score in the game. Kurt Davis looks into Don Padgett, gets the sign. There's the stretch by Davis. Here's the pitch. The high pop fly. Infield. Back of the mound. A little to the left of it. Jimmy Brown follows it in and takes it almost on the mound. The wind pushed that ball in. Burger popping out to shortstop Jimmy Brown. That brings up Billy Myers, playing his 147th game of the season. Batting average of .280. That's made up of 138 hits in 492 times at bat. He's batting right-handed. It's Kraft on first. Lombardi on third. 1 away. Don Padgett taking his time while giving the sign to Kurt Davis, the right-hander. Bill can't take a windup of an open base at second. There's the stretch. Here's the pitch to Bill Myers. Myers lifts a high fly out toward left field. Medwick goes back to the fence. It's over the fence. A home run for Billy Myers. Out in front by the score of 3-0. Players all stopping Billy on the back as he goes down to the dugout. That brings up Gene Johnson. Right-handed batter. That's as he throws. Kurt Davis winds up. Here's the pitch. Thompson swings and misses for strike one. He tried to check his swing. Too far around. Score Cincinnati 3. The St. Louis Cards nothing. That ball hit on the top of the left center field fence and bounced out. And that ball was really clouded because it went right into the wind. Davis winds up again as the next pitch to Thompson. Low, ball 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. 1 out. Kurt Davis winds up again as the next pitch. It's a fly ball going into right center field. It's likely to be in there for a hit. It is. It drops in there for a single between Stuart Martin and Enos Slaughter, the second baseman and the right fielder who came in for that. It dropped in there for a base hit. Warneke has now been sent out to the bullpen to warm up. Bill Werber coming up. 1 out. Werber got on base on Don Gutteridge error back in the first inning. Plenty of jubilation down there in that Cincinnati dugout at the present time as a result of that home run by Billy Myers. Here comes the pitch to Bill Werber. High and inside. He had a duck under it. Ball 1. Both warming up in the bullpen. Clyde Chown is a left-hander. Bob Bowman is a right-hander. Werber back at the plate again. Gets himself set. Gene Thompson leads off first. Johnny Mize is not holding him to first. Here's the pitch. Curveball breaks across the plate. For strike one call. 1 ball and 1 strike. Press box full of writing celebrities this afternoon. Baseball writers from all over the country are here for this series. Davis takes his stretch again. Here's the next pitch to Bill Weber. The curveball is lifted into the infield, a little to the right of the plate. It's going foul, and Don Padgett takes it. Lifted out in front of the plate a little bit. The wind got a hold of it, threw it over the foul line, and was taken some 15 or 20 feet to the right of the plate by Don Padgett. Weber fouling out to the catcher. On the second out, that brings up Lonnie Fry for the second time in the game. In the first inning, his first time up, he sacrificed and thrown out David Samai. Gene Thompson on first, 2 out. Last of the second, the score Cincinnati 3. St. Louis Cards, nothing. 3 pitches warming up out there now. Here's the pitch to Fry, outside and high. Ball 1. Davis takes his stretch. Here comes the pitch to Fry. Strike one call. Knee high on the outside corner. The count is even. 1 ball and 1 strike. Thompson leads off first. Davis stretches. Here's the pitch to Lonnie Fry. He goes for it. It's a line drive out into right field. It's set for a base hit. It's fielded by Slaughter. Thompson stops at second. A single for Fry. A single to right. Thompson stopping at second. Mike Gonzalez comes out and calls in 5 counts. At the end of Kurt Davis. Davis having worked 1 2/3 innings. He has allowed 5 hits, has walked none, has struck out none. Runs allowed so far, 3. And if Fry and Thompson score, they will be charged against the record of Kurt Davis. Shoun. Shoun comes in the second inning with 2 outs and pitches to Grissom. Well, the turn of events so far have been a little bit on the surprising side. It was expected that this would be a pretty close battle. Not have anything quite as drastic as a home run with 2 on occur as early in the ball game as this. This is the first game of the doubleheader with the Cincinnati Reds leading by the score of 3-0. Shoun is the second pitcher to be used. He's a left-hander. Kurt Davis is given a nice hand by the Cincinnati spectators as he walks out of the game, goes down the runway through the left field stands back to the clubhouse. Lonnie Fry on first, and Gene Thompson is called for his jacket, which he has put on. Kim Bowman now warming up in the bullpen. There's 2 outs. Goodman flied out to Medwick in the first inning, his first time up. Runners on first and second. 2 outs. Padgett gives the sign to Shoun. The southpaw throws a fastball high. Ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes to count. Again by Shoun. Here's the next pitch to Goody. Fastball high. Ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes. Let's have runners on first and second. And here it is. Fastball low and outside. Ball 3. No strikes to count. Shoun rubbing up the ball before pitching again, taking a little stroll for himself. Ronnie Warnke is now left alone out there in the bullpen to warm up. 3 balls, no strikes to count. It's Fry on first, Thompson on second, 2 outs. Here's the next pitch. Strike 1 call. Crossfire across the plate. 3-1. the next pitch to Goodman. Goodman swings and fouls it up on top of the grandstand roof, back at third base. The ball dropped off somebody's hand up there, but all the way down into the field seats, back at third base. The new right field pavilion here is complete. There's a stretch by Sean, with Brown getting in back of Thompson, but Thompson got back in time from the knoll. Play was made. The next pitch is a fly ball going out toward left center field. Medwick is going back toward. He's under in front of the scoreboard and takes it for the third out. Goodman flying out to Medwick for the third out. Side is retired with 3 runs, 5 hits, no errors, and 2 runners for that. So there's 2 innings in the ball game out of the way. The score: Cincinnati 3, the St. Louis Cards nothing. We pause briefly for station identification. Back at Crosley Field once again to resume the broadcast of the doubleheader this afternoon between the St. Louis Cards and the Cincinnati Reds. It's now possible to complete the record of Kurt Davis and charge him with 3 runs. Slaughter, Medwick, and Mize are the first 3 batters to come up to face Thompson in the top of the third. The announcement has just been made in the public address system. The single games will be played here tomorrow and on Thursday. Those are the last 2 games of the season, by the way, at Crosley Field for the Cincinnati Reds. They finished their season out at Pittsburgh. A single game Friday, a single game Saturday, and a single game on Sunday. Thompson still limbering up with Ernie Lombardi. He's a little slow coming out of the dugout. Place is absolutely packed this afternoon. For those of you who have not been in Crosley Field in some time, they have built a new upper right field pavilion and a new upper left field pavilion with an estimated increase in the seating capacity of approximately 3,100. The right field pavilion is all complete, and today is just jam-packed. The left field pavilion is perhaps half completed, and they're letting people in there now. All right, Slaughter is up. He singled to center in the first inning. Here's the pitch to him. He lets the fly ball out into short center field. Billy Myers, Lonnie Fry going back. Lonnie goes back and takes it. Second base, a beautiful running catch going away. Slaughter popping out to Lonnie Fry back in short center field for the first out. That brings up Joe Medwick, who hit it a bad ball in the first inning on the hit and run as Slaughter lit out for second. He reached out for a wide pitch and lifted a fly just inside the right field line. Good for 2 bases. The first pitch, he swings, hits the line drive into center field. It's good for a base hit. Rolls out there to Harry Kraft, who fields it, gets it back into second. It's a single for Joe Medwick. That is his second hit of the game. A single to center, and that's hit number 4 off Gene Thompson. Johnny Mize coming up. Mize was purposely passed in the first inning his first time up. It's Medwick on first, 1 away. Thompson stretches. McCormick plays back from the base. Here's the pitch to Mize. Fastball high and inside. Ball 1. Sun shining quite brightly now, although the sky is just a little bit hazy. Again, Thompson stretches. Here's the pitch to Mize. Mize started his swing, pulled it on the low inside pitch. For ball 2. The count is 2 balls and no strikes. 1 away. Medwick on first. Again, the stretch by Gene Thompson. Here's the pitch to Johnny Mize. Mize hits the line drive down the right field line. It's good for a base hit. Ivan Goodman comes over, intercepts it, gets it in quickly. Medwick stops at third. Mize goes on to second with a double. A double to right. That brings up Don Padgett. Padgett hit into a force play in the first inning his first time up. Don is tying a shoelace as he comes up, looks down to the dugout. Manager Ray Blades apparently calling something out, and Buzzy Wares, who's coaching at first, calls something to him. Infield plays in. They're going to pass Don Padgett. First pitch is outside. Here's the next one, outside, ball 2. Ball 3. And here's the next one, ball 4. 2 men have been purposely passed. That makes possible a force play at any base. Brings up Harry Moore. Moore was thrown out by Billy Myers in the second inning. There's 1 out. Bases filled. No shot. sharpness starts warming up again in the bullpen for the Cincinnati Reds. He's a left-hander. Four right-handed batters at the plate. Bases loaded, one out. Johnson winds up. And here it is. Curveball inside. Ball one. One ball, no strike. Again, Bob Bowman joins Ron Warneke in warming up in the right field bullpen. Johnson winds up again, throws a fastball. He swings and misses for strike one. One ball and one strike. Neither manager will spare any players in this series. It's now or never for both of them. One ball, one strike. Thompson winding up. Throws high. Ball two. 2 balls and 1 strike is the count. Sun going under a cloud. One out, bases filled. Gary Moore is the batter. Thompson winds up. Here's the pitch. Outside. Ball 3. 3 balls and 1 strike. On the count. Johnson takes his windup, and here it is. Inside, ball 4. Moore walks, forcing in a run. Medwick scores from third. Mize moves to third. Adds it on second. And that's walk number 3, given up by Gene Johnson. 2 intentional and 1 unintentional. Johnson has asked for a new ball. That ball is thrown out of the game by umpire Larry Getz. That brings up Stuart Martin, who grounded off McCormick unassisted back in the second inning. The score, Cincinnati 3, St. Louis Cards 1 in the top of the third. Thompson winds up. Here's the pitch. Martin swings, fouls it back into the screen for strike 1. Lombardi throws the new ball out to Bill Werber. Werber up to the fifth and throws it to Gene Thompson. To Martin, left-handed batter. Watches Thompson wind up. And here's the pitch. He hits a line drive foul out into the right field seat in front of the right field pavilion. Strike 2. No balls and 2 strikes. Bases filled, 1 out, 1 run in. Johnson winds up again, throws a fastball. It's high. Ball 1. 1 ball and 2 strikes is the count. Gene Thompson winds up. Here it is. High and inside. Ball 2, and the count is even. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Tommy goes back to the rosin bag. Back up on the hill again. Lombardi gets the sign. Gene winds up. Here it is. Curveball doesn't break quite enough. Misses the outside corner of the plate. Ball 3. 3 balls and 2 strikes. That brings the big one up to Stuart Martin. 3-2. Here's Thompson's windup. And here it is. Ground ball down towards first. McCormick fields it. Throws to the plate to Lombardi, and he's forced. Johnny Mize is forced at the plate. On the play, McCormick to Lombardi. Bases still filled. Padgett on third. Moore on second. Martin on first. That brings up Johnny Hopp, H-O-P-P. Johnny Hopp, who had the promise at one time of being a great outfielder, but his arm went bad on him. He's from the Rochester Red Wings of the International League. Very fast. He's hitting for Clyde Chow. H-O-P-P. Johnny Hopp. Johnny Hopp. Bases filled. He bats left-handed. Here's the windup by Thompson. Here's the pitch to Hopp. He swings the first pitch. Fouls it back to the screen for strike 1. This Johnny Hopp is about as fast a man on base as you'll ever see. Martin on first. Moore on second. Padgett on third. Here's the windup again by Gene Thompson. Here's the pitch. Strike 2 called. A perfect curve across the plate. Waist high. No balls and 2 strikes to count. Score, Cincinnati 3, St. Louis Cards 1. We're in the top of the third. Here's the lineup by Johnson and Lombardi rolled out in front of the plate. Brown goes up, picks it up, hands it to Thompson, who came in for it. And umpire Larry Getz, in the meantime, dusting off the plate. 2 balls, 2 strikes to count. Again, Thompson goes back to the last bag. Bases filled. Here's the windup. Here it is. Looking out, swinging. Johnny Huff struck out swinging with the bases filled. Side retired with 1 run. 2 hits. No errors. Bases were left filled. So now we go to the last half of the 3rd inning with the score: Cincinnati 3, St. Louis Cards 1. Bill McKechnie stops Gene Thompson on his way back to the dugout. Gives him a little fatherly advice. You could almost see him as he left Gene with the palm of his hand. He sort of made a gesture towards Gene as if to say, "You're doing swell in there, kid. Just keep it up." McCormick, Lombardi, and Kraft. Now the first 3 batters to come up as we go to the last half of the 3rd inning of this first game of the doubleheader, being broadcast direct from Crosley Field in Cincinnati. Bob Bowman, B-O-W-M-A-N, becomes the 3rd pitcher to be used by the Cards. He's a right-handed pitcher. Davis' pitching record then for this game is a 1/3 of an inning and nothing else. He pitched to Ivor Goodman. Right down pitching only to Ivor Goodman. 1/3 of an inning, nothing else. All right. McCormick is up there. He was thrown out by shortstop Jimmy Brown in the 1st inning. Bob Bowman, right-hander, winds up, throws high and inside. Ball 1. 1 ball and no strike. Catcher gives the sign. Bowman winds up. And here's the pitch. McCormick lifts a high foul up on top of the left field pavilion roof. That roof out there, by the way, has not been completed. That's the new section. 1 ball, 1 strike is the count. Bowman winds up again. Here's the pitch. Fastball is fouled back to the screen. Strike 2. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Bowman being the 3rd pitcher to be used this afternoon by the St. Louis Cards. For Cincinnati 3, St. Louis 1. Bowman winding up again. Here's the next pitch to McCormick. He hits a line drive. It goes over the head of Jimmy Brown out into left field. It's a hit. A single for McCormick. Coming up. Lombardi double to right in the 2nd inning, his first time up. There's the stretch. Here's the pitch. Strike 1 out of the dirt. It's very low. John Patch is making a nice play on it. 1 ball, 1 strike. On back at the plate. McCormick takes a short lead. There's the stretch. Here's the pitch. Ground ball going out into right field. Out of Jim on street. McCormick Brown 2nd, goes to 3rd. There's a throw by Slaughter. And McCormick slides safely into 3rd base. A single for Lombardi. So it's Lombardi on 1st, McCormick on 3rd. Harry Kraft is coming up. Kraft single to left in the 2nd inning. That was his first time up. Bill McKechnie calls Harry off to one side, tells him what to do. Warnicki warming up again in the bullpen for the Cards. It's Lombardi on 1st, McCormick on 3rd. Nobody down. Bowman gets the sign. No chance for a wind-up with an open base at 2nd. Here's the pitch to Kraft. Fastball is high. Ball 1. 1 ball, no strike. just back at shortstop position. Jimmy Brown is there for it. Takes it on the base path as the wind pushed it back in. Kraft popping out to Jimmy Brown for the first out. That brings up Wally Berger, who also popped out to shortstop. In the second inning, his first time up. There's one away. Berger at the plate. Runners on first and third. Baldwin stretches. Here's the pitch. Foul coming back up toward the broadcasting booth. We're up pretty high here, however. We're on the roof of the second deck. Very seldom a foul ball gets up this high. Berger back at the plate. Stretched by Bob Bowman. Here's the pitch. High inside. Ball two. Or ball one, rather. One ball and one strike. Bowman goes into the rosin bag. And back up on the mound. Bob Weiland has now gone out to the bullpen to warm up. Here's the next pitch. Fastball is high. Ball two, and the count 2 balls and 1 strike. Berger stands there just waiting. Bowman takes quite a bit of time now. Rubs that ball in the palms of his hands. Get all the sheen off the high so the ball won't slip out of his fingers. He stretches. Here's the pitch to Berger. Berger lifts the line, drives foul into the left field pavilion. Count is 2-2. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Joe Medwick playing almost back to the left field wall, playing halfway up the terrace. Slaughter playing a little toward right center instead of right field. They're playing Berger, of course, for a left field hitter, a pull hitter. There's the stretch. And here's the pitch to Berger. Foul. He swung over the top of it, hit it off the foot of umpire Larry Getz, and it bounced up against the Cincinnati bat boy, who was leaning right alongside of Billy Myers. Was letting his next turn at bat. Now the mains 2-2. This Bowman's pretty quick for a little follow. Body on first. McCormick on third, 1 out. Here's the pitch to Berger. Ground ball down the third baseline. His foul rolls out to the Cincinnati bullpen. Out there where Hank Gowdy is moniker ball he surveys. He dies 1,000 deaths out there, Hank does, during the course of these ball games. 2-2 the count. Bowman again takes his stretch. Here's the pitch to Wally Berger. It's a line drive going out toward left field. It's timed up. Joe Medwick comes in, takes it. There's the break for the plate by McCormick. The throw into Padgett, and he's out. A perfect throw from Medwick to the plate, and McCormick is out for the third out. That's a nice play by Joe Medwick. Side retired, no run. 2 hits. No errors, and 1 runner is left. Well, there's 3 innings of the ball game out of the way. For Cincinnati 3, St. Louis Cards 1. The head of the batting order will come up for the Cards as we go to the first half of the 4th inning. Joe Medwick is given a hand for that perfect strike he threw to the plate to retire McCormick as McCormick tried to score after the catch. Bowman, Gutteridge, and Slaughter will be the first, or Brown rather, Gutteridge and Slaughter will be the first 3 batters to come up in the top of the 4th. Gene Thompson so far has 1 strikeout, has walked 3, 2 intentionally, and 1 unintentionally. Each team has committed 1 error so far. Here's that announcement I told you about earlier. Any person interfering with the ball in play will be ejected from the park. That means that it'll overthrow the base and the ball goes back toward the stand. Any spectator who reaches over and picks up that ball, because of course it's in play, will be invited to leave. To put it very mildly. Pitch to Brown. Fastball is good on the outside corner, knee high for a strike call. The count 1 ball, 1 strike. Top of the 4th. Score Cincinnati 3, St. Louis Cards 1. Here's the lineup again by Thompson. Here's the pitch. Brown checks his swing. It's low, ball 2. 2 balls, 1 strike. Thompson on the mound again. Right-hander winds up. He throws a fastball. It's on the ground toward second. Brown Lonnie Fry fields it. Takes it out of his glove. Throws to McCormick. Brown is out. Rounding outside of McCormick. That brings up Don Gutteridge. Gutteridge, slice up, no hit. Slide out to Berger in left center in the first. Fouled out to third in the second. Wind up by Thompson. Here's the first pitch. The fastball hitting the line out to the center field. It dropped in there for a hit. Is seated on the second half by Harry Kraft, who gets it back into second. A single to center for Don Gutteridge. That's hit number 6 off Gene Johnson. Enos Slaughter coming up. Single to center in the first and popped out to Lonnie Fry. Back up second in the third. Gutteridge leads off and then is brought back in a hurry as the throw from Thompson over to McCormick. Almost picked him off base, and McCormick practically fell over Gutteridge, trying to retain his own balance as he was going for that throw. Gutteridge leads off. Here's the pitch. Strike one call, well across the plate. No balls, one strike. Enos Slaughter is up for the third time in the game. There's the stretch again by Thompson. Gutteridge leads off. Here's the pitch. Ground ball down towards short. Myers up with it over to Fry. Fry doesn't bother the throw as Gutteridge takes him out of the play at second. And it's a fourth play. Slaughter gets away very fast at the plate. Slaughter on first of the field at short. The play, Myers to Fry. Hard baseball will be played in this series. The Blue Chips are down if they ever were down. That brings up Joe Medwick, 2 for 2. A double to right in the first, a single to center in the third. Slaughter leads off. Here's the pitch. One miss. Strike one. Third ball. Slaughter on first and 2 out. Stretch again by Gene Johnson. Quick throw over to first, and Slaughter dives back. He's up on his feet again. Johnson stretches again. Slaughter leads off. Here's the pitch. Curveball is hit over McCormick's head and lands foul on the right field line by about 3 feet. Medwick got a very small piece of that ball, hit it up on the handle of the bat, swung late at it, and just sort of bumped it out over McCormick's head. And it curved foul. And it's just the second strike. No balls, 2 strikes. Slaughter is off to a great start on that. Returns to first. Medwick back at the plate again. Stretch by Thompson. Slaughter again leads off. Here's the pitch. Foul back into the screen. Count is the same. No balls and 2 strikes. New ball is thrown out to Bill Weber and returned to Thompson. Quick throw to first base. Again forces Slaughter to dive into the base. Just whirled around and fired that ball over there to Frank McCormick, and Slaughter dove back in, hands extended. No balls, 2 strikes is the count on Joe Medwick. McCormick and Thompson have a little huddle. Now they're both in their respective positions. Here's the pitch to Medwick. The ground ball right to the box. Back up second, bounces off the base. Second to Myers. Myers to McCormick. There's a close play, and Medwick doesn't like it at all. Medwick took off his hat. He's having a strong argument out there with umpire Bay Pinelli. Cap in hand, he's clapping his thigh with it. He didn't like that. That ball, the cue to be hit, was hit right through the box, went out into second base position and hit second base. Bounced off at an angle, spoiling a fourth play, and Myers had to pick it out of the air in a hurry and fire it over to first. Umpire Bean Clearton continues the discussion there with Joe Medwick. Medwick is out. Myers to McCormick. Side retired. No run. 1 hit. No errors. And 1 runner is left. Dean Clearson, acting as a peacemaker on that, probably went over to Joe and said, "Now, Joe, we're going to give you a little attitude on this, more than we probably would normally. But this is an important series. Serve that temper of yours, because we don't want to have to kick you out of the game." This is reminiscent of the World Series days when Joe Medwick was the center of a fruit barrage. Well, Steady Myers, Gene Johnson, and Bill Werber for the Reds in the last half of the fourth inning. Steady Myers up for the second time a home run over the left field wall. Bill Myers, that's right-handed, up for the second time in the game. Bob Bowman, third pitcher to be used for you late tuners in. It's Kurt Davis, then Clyde down in the second, and now Bob Bowman. Here's the lineup by Bowman. He throws, Myers swings and fouls it back up into the screen. For strike one. We're in the last half of the fourth inning. First game of the doubleheader. Bowman winds up again. Throws high and over the head of Billy Myers. The ball bounces out of the glove of Don Padgett. Umpire Larry Getz demands the ball. Inspects it. It's all right. And is thrown back out there to Bowman. Bowman winds up. Here's the pitch. Fastball is high and inside. Ball two. 2 balls. 1 strike is the count. Padgett is given a new ball by Larry Getz. That is thrown out to Bowman. 2 balls, 1 strike. Bowman winds up. Here's the pitch to Myers. Myers fouls another one off into the screen. The count is even up 2-2. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Bowman nods his head to the sign. Winds up. Here's the pitch to Billy Myers. Myers fouls another one up into the screen. Count remains the same. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Bowman is ready. Shakes off the sign. And winds up. Here's the pitch to Billy Myers. Fastball is lifted high in the air out toward right center field. Slaughter goes over Fort, is under it, and takes it. Backed up by Terry Moore. For the first out. Billy Myers flying out to Slaughter, the right fielder, at right center. That brings up Gene Johnson, who's very highly regarded here in Cincinnati. A rookie kid picked up from the Southern League last year. Brought up here just more or less in hope. Boy, how he has come through the last little while. His pitching record for the season, 11 wins and 5 losses. He's into the right center in the second inning, his first time up. There's the first pitch to him. He goes for it, lifts the foul. Back on the plate. Don Padgett comes back for it, but he can't get it. Goes into the screen. For strike one. Padgett walks slowly back, picks up his cap, which he puts on in reverse, of course. Down the mask. Pulls the strap down back of his ears. Now he's ready. Here it is. Fastball is hit on the ground. Out towards center field. It goes into center field for a hit. Joe Martin came over. The ball went by second base to the right of the bag. Joe Martin came over, tried to field it, but it was way out of his reach. That's the second hit for Gene Johnson. That brings up Billy Werber, who's been up twice with no hit. Werber got on base on Don Gutteridge's error in the first. And now we're going to stop on the broadcast of the ball game for just a matter of 10 seconds. We pause for station identification. Bill Werber's up at the plate. Gene Johnson is getting his jacket on, so we picked a good time for that station break. Here's the pitch. Werber hits the ground ball. Gutteridge takes it at third, over to second and 2 Martin to Johnny Mize, and it's a double play. Side is out. Werber hitting the ground ball. It was taken on a high jump at third base by Don Gutteridge. Was through to Stu Martin. Martin to Mize. A double play. Side retired. No run. 1 hit. No errors, and no one is left. And by way of records, that is the 123rd double play into which the Reds have hit this year. They have completed 163. And by the way, I let that 200 hit of Frank McCormick go by without too much mention. That single to left, with which he led off in the third inning, was his 200th base hit of the year. Been looking for that now for 3 days. We expected it Saturday, we expected it Sunday, and it didn't show up. Medwick just has a little partying shot at Larry Getz, and as the fans get on him, he takes off his cap in a very gracious gesture and parades down to the dugout that way. Well, it's Johnny Mize, Don Padgett, and Terry Moore, the first 3 batters to come up in the top of the 5th inning, with the score Cincinnati 3, the St. Louis Cards 1. Gene Johnson limbering up with Ernie Lombardi. 3 runs in the second inning off Kurt Davis. Lombardi double to right. McCormick, or Kraft rather, single to left. Lombardi stopping at third. And then with runners on first and third, Berger popped out to Brown, and Myers hit a home run that hit on top of the left center field wall and bounced out. Those are the 3 runs for the Cincinnati Reds. Cardinals got their scoring in the third inning. With 1 out, Medwick singles, Myers double to right, Badger purposely passed, and then Moore walked to force in a run. Thompson winds up, and here's the pitch. Fastball misses the outside corner of the plate. Ball 1. Johnny Myers up twice, purposely passed in the first, double to right. In the third is the next pitch. Foul up into the upper left field pavilion. That pavilion, by the way, is pretty well packed despite the fact that only half the seats are in there. Of course, they have all the superstructure work up. All the flat metal has been laid on which the seats are usually fastened. Here's the windup. Here's the pitch to Myers. Slow curve is low. Ball 2. Pretty fair pitch there by Gene Thompson, but it missed. 2 balls, 1 strike to count. Here's the windup. Here's the pitch to Myers. Strike 2 call. The fastball way high in the outside corner. Johnny Myers protesting in a small way to umpire Larry Getz. Count is even up, 2-2. Thompson winds up. Here's the pitch. Ground ball down towards first. He's second by McCormick in fair territory, and McCormick steps on first for an unassisted out. Johnny Myers didn't even bother to run it out. Myers is making motions with his spikes in the dirt to show that ball was at least 3 feet foul in his estimation. Newspaper photographers out to get a shot at that argument. Short life, however, Johnny turns on his heel, goes back to the dugout. Ray Blade stops Johnny on the way in. Ray saunters out to the plate, has a little conference with umpire Larry Getz. That ball was called fair by both umpire Larry Getz at the plate and Dave Pinelli at first. So there's 1 out. John Padgett coming up. It's been up twice, no hit. Made into a force play in the first, was perfectly passed in the third. Thompson winds up. Here's the pitch. The curveball is low and outside. Ball 1. Done again, Johnny Bradley. We're in the top of the 5th. Thompson winds up. There's the pitch to Padgett. He swings, hits the ground ball down towards second. It's second by Ronnie Fry. Fry gets to the first to McCormick. Padgett is out. Rounding out Fry to McCormick. Ball the second out. That brings up Terry Moore. Moore's been up twice in this ballgame, has no hits. Once officially he's been up. He was thrown out by Billy Myers in the second and walked in the third. Terry Moore, right into batter, is up at the plate. Thompson winds up. And here it is. A curveball across the plate, knee high for strike 1 call. Gene winds up again. Here's the pitch to Terry Moore. It's a fastball. It just misses the outside corner and is a little low. 1 ball and 1 strike. 2 out. Nobody on. Thompson winds up again. Here's the pitch. Oh, and inside. Ball 2. 2 balls and 1 strike. For Cincinnati 3, St. Louis 1. For you late tuners in. Gene Thompson winds up. Throws a fastball. It is high, and it's ball 3. Strike 1. 3-1. Here's Thompson's windup. Here it is. Ball 4. Terry Moore walks for the second time. That's 4 walks given up by Thompson. 1 to Myers intentionally, 1 to Padgett intentionally, and 2 to Terry Moore. Martin coming up. Twice up, no hits. That's left-handed. 8th man in the batting order. Here's the pitch to him. He hits a high fly out toward right field. Ivor Goodman goes back at the foot of the terrace, stops right there to the tracks, is under it, and takes it for the 3rd out. Stu Martin flying out to Goodman in right field. Side retired. No runs. No hits. No errors. 1 runner is left. So now we go to the last half of the 5th inning. Goodman and McCormick, the first 3 batters to come up. Fans give Gene Thompson a good hand as he comes down into the dugout. The Cincinnati dugout to the left. The St. St. Louis Cardinal dugout to the right. And boy, this place is really packed. Official Dennison, the crowd won't be given out until sometime during the second game, but it'll be up. I would say offhand it'll be up in the neighborhood of 31 or 32,000. Perhaps even higher than that. There are no field seats, however, today. No ground rules due to the fact that there's an overflow crowd in the park. The park is entirely free of spectators, but they're just jammed into the regular stands. Standing up back in the aisles, looks to be standing up 4 and 5 deep. The new pavilion quarters, upper left field and upper right field pavilions, which have just been erected in the last month and a half or so here at Crosby Field, are also well jammed. They've even spilled out up under the grandstand roof. Ronnie Fry is up for the third time in the game. A perfect day so far, a sacrifice in the first and a single in the second. He bats left-handed. We're in the last half of the fifth inning. Bob Bowman winds up. There's a pitch to Fry. Outside and high. Ball one. Fry made a gesture as if he was going to bunt. Don Gutteridge coming into the edge of the infield grass. Bowman winds up again. Here's the pitch to Ronnie Fry. Fastball is high. Ball two. 2 balls and no strikes. Wind up again by Bowman. Here's the next pitch. High. Ball 3. 3-0 is the count. Activity in the bullpens has ceased. 3 balls, no strikes. Bowman winding up. Here's the pitch to Ronnie Fry. High and inside. Ball 4. Ronnie Fry walks. He's the first man to be walked this afternoon by any of the 3 St. Louis pitchers. Again, for you late tuners in, Kurt Davis started this ball game and yielded 5 hits and 3 runs. Was taken out with 2 outs in the second inning. Clyde Chown came in, pitched to 1 man, then Chown gave way to a pinch hitter, and Bowman has pitched since that time. Johnny Mize has moved in to guard the inside corner. Bob Warnicki starts warming up in the bullpen, so does Bob Weiland. All the cards. Goodman at the plate has been up twice, has flied out to Medwick both times. There's the stretch. Quick throw over to first, and had that throw been lower, they would have had Ronnie Fry. That throw was high by Bowman. Had the throw been down to the base, Fry would have been out. Because Bowman outguessed him on the motion. Fry was starting to increase his lead as the ball was thrown. Fry dove back head first. He's now shaking the dirt out of his uniform. There's the stretch. Here's the pitch. A bunt down towards third. Picked up by Don Gutteridge. Gutteridge throws to first to Johnny Mize. And Goodman is out. The sacrifice advancing Fry to second. Goodman going out. Sacrificing. Gutteridge to Mize. Fry taking second on the plate. Frank McCormick coming up. McCormick rounded out short in the first, single to left. In the third, hit a line drive over the head of Jimmy Brown. Started off in the third. There's the stretch. Here's the pitch to McCormick. Fastball is good on the outside corner, better high for strike 1 call. Fry eases away from second. Bowman's hand over his head to his waist. He throws. McCormick passes out with a line drive to center. Terry Moore takes it. Hardly had to move for it. Ball was well hit, but right at Terry Moore. 2 out. That brings up Ernie Lombardi, who has 2 for 2. A double to right in the second, a single to right in the third. Newspaper photographers all over the place this afternoon. 5 of them down here that I can see right now. They're going to pass Lombardi. Ball 1 outside. Next pitch. Ball 2 outside. standing out there near second, watching the proceedings, hands on his hips. And there's the fourth. Ball 4. George Lombardi on first, Fry on second, 2 out, and Harry Kraft comes up. Harry has 1 hit and 2 times at that. He's singled it up in the second, and popped out to Jimmy Brown, the shortstop, in the third. He bats right-handed. Bowman unable to take a windup on an open base at third. There's the stretch by Bowman. He looks back at second. Here's the pitch to Harry Kraft. Kraft swings and misses for strike 1. Swing is that high hard one. That's the one Harry likes, that fastball. Bowman stretching again. Again looks back at second. Here's the pitch. The curveball lifted high in the air out toward right field. Slaughter starts going back for the wind gets under it. And gets it back on the terrace. He almost misjudged that. He started in for it and suddenly realized that the wind was getting a hold of it and had to turn around and go back. He took it, however. Kraft flying out to Slaughter, partway up the terrace in front of the right field bleachers. Side is retired. No runs. No hits. No errors. And 2 runners are left. Now we go to the top of the 6th inning. It's Bowman or someone to hit for him. Kevin Martin, captain of the team, comes out to talk with umpire Larry Getz, possibly telling who's going to bat for Bowman, if anybody. Raymond King, K-I-N-G. Just hitting in the 6th inning. Warming up in the bullpen. He'll be the 4th pitcher to be used this afternoon by the St. Louis Cards. Davis, down, Bowman, and we'll wait for the official announcement before putting Warnicki down on the scorecard. Ren King, little fellow, very fast. They certainly got a lot of speed on this Cincinnati ball club, or this St. Louis ball club, rather. Little fellows. Here's the lineup. Here's the pitch to Ren King. Throw it outside. Ball 1. 1 ball, no strikes. Winds up. Here it is. Fastball misses the inside corner. Ball 2. But King soaking up his bat as if he was on a bunt. Bill Schwarber came in fast to third base. 2 balls, no strikes to count. First half of the 6th, the score Cincinnati 3. St. Louis Cards 1. Here's the windup. Here it is. Fastball. Throw it inside. Ball 3. 3 balls and no strikes. Tom Warnicki has just finished warming up. And here comes the cripple. Strike 1 call. 3 balls and 1 strike. King turned away from the plate, started toward first. He's back at the plate again. Little fellow, bat left-handed. Thompson winds up. Here's the pitch. Low. Ball 4, and King walks. Lombardi, by the way, doesn't care much about that. He's protesting. The umpire, there he gets. Bill McKechnie comes up out of the dugout. There's the 5th man to be walked by Thompson. Jimmy Brown coming up. King on first, top of the 6th. There's the stretch by Thompson. Here's the pitch. Fastball is fouled. High in the air out into the left field pavilion. Goes up to Bill Weber. Over to Gene Johnson. Bill Schaffner starts warming up again in the bullpen. Next pitch is hit on the ground down toward first and second by McCormick, who throws to Billy Myers, forcing King at second. That ball was hit actually towards second base position. Hit very poorly. It was top. McCormick, seeing that Fry couldn't come in for it, cut into the infield grass in front of second base position and fielded it. Through to Myers. King was fourth. Brown is on first on the fielder's choice. Gutteridge is up. 3 times up, 1 hit. Brown on first. Here's the pitch to Gutteridge. Curveball is hit on the ground is short. Bill Myers takes it. Solani Fry at second. Fry to first and McCormick. A double play. Side is retired. Brown threw himself 10 feet out of the way out there to try to take Fry out of that play. Gutteridge, Browning to Myers. Myers to Fry. Fry to McCormick. double play. Side retired, no run. No hit. No error. And no one is left. Well, for the Reds this season, that's the 164th completed double play. So now the teams change sides. We go to the last half of the sixth inning. The score is 3-1 in favor of the Cincinnati Reds. Berger, Myers, and Thompson are the first three batters to come up. Ron Warneke for St. Louis. Warneke in the sixth inning. Standing around the edges waiting for Warneke to get limbered up as he throws to Don Padgett. You'll have to pardon some of the noise you were hearing in the background this afternoon. We have metal doors on the press box and broadcasting booths around here, and with such a terrific crowd, a lot of people moving in and out, the doors get slammed shut with the wind. Wally Berger's up for the third time in the game. Popped out to Brown, the shortstop in the second, and slide out to Medwick and left in the third. Here's the first pitch to him, curveball outside, ball one. Ron Warneke, angular right-hander. Has the time. Here's the windup, and here it is. Half ball fouled off his bat. Care much about that. Stallborg has 2 balls and a strike. May have been that ball, I thought, went off his bat, bounced off the fingertips of Don Padgett. Berger checked his swing. Here's the next pitch. The line drive out into short center field, over the head of Schumacher, who falls. He tries to catch it, and it drops in there safely for a single. A single to center. That starts Bob Wyland warming up again in the bullpen. Myers is up. 1 hit. And 2 times at bat. Boy, what a hit. A 3-run homer in the second inning. Here's the pitch to Billy Myers. Outside. Ball 1. Infield playing in, expecting a sacrifice. Johnny Myers guarding that inside corner now. Wally Berger standing with 1 foot against the base. Wally leads off. Warneke looks over. Here's the pitch. Strike 1 call in the outside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike is the count. Warneke takes his time. The stretch. Here's the next pitch. High and inside as Myers ducks out of the way. 2 balls. 1 strike is the count. Here's the next pitch to Myers. He bunts foul up in the air to the right of the plate. John Padgett makes a beautiful diving catch. A sensational play as Padgett left over his feet. Drove at that, picked it out of the air just before it hit the ground. There's a slow play. Myers fouling out to Padgett. On an attempted bunt was fouled to the right of the plate, up in the air, not very high, perhaps not over 10 or 12 feet high. Padgett went over for it, realized he couldn't get under it, and just drove at it, picking it out of the air. From his one away, and Gene Thompson comes up. Twice up. 2 hits. Single to right center in the second and again in the fourth. Berger on first. Warneke. Getting ready to pitch. Don Gutteridge playing into the infield grass. There's the stretch. Here comes the pitch. Strike 1 call. Gutteridge had that analyzed perfectly. perfectly as Thompson did chuck up his fastball straight away. The fastball in the outside corner. There's the touch again by Warnke. Here comes the next pitch. Thompson reaches out for it, fouls it back up his plate, goes into the dirt, and he lost his bat. That's swinging out of his hand. By the way, we're receiving quite a number of wires up here, for which many thanks. We haven't the time, unfortunately, to acknowledge them all individually, but we have acknowledged that one particularly from Tampa. We want to acknowledge some wires from our old hometown, Buffalo. There's the check by Warnke. Here comes the next pitch. Curveball, low and outside. Ball one. 1 ball, 2 strikes to count. Wallyberger on first. Warnke stretches again. Here's the pitch. Thompson bunts. Around back of the plate, and then Don Padgett kicks it out of the air. However, as it so happens, Thompson would have been out anyway. Bunting foul on the third strike. Brings up Bill Werber. This fellow Padgett is just doing all kinds of contortions down there at the plate, going for those fouls. Wallyberger still on first with 2 out, the last of the 6 to score. Cincinnati 3, St. Louis Cards 1. First game of the doubleheader at Crosley Field. Bill Werber at the plate, no hits so far, and 3 times at that. Here's the pitch to Bill, outside. Ball one. Fastball missing the outside corner of the plate. Warnke pitching very slowly now. Takes a little stretch. Looks over at first. Here's the slow curve. It's across the plate. Letter high for a strike call. 1 ball and 1 strike. Werber is the batter. Wallyberger on first. And he looks over at first. Here's the pitch. Slow curve. Catches the outside corner of the plate for strike 2 call. Werber doesn't care about that. Complains to Larry Guest. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Not vigorously, however. Just lets a little mild protest and right back at the plate. Warnke set. Here's the pitch to Werber. It's a fastball. He swings, fouls it back into the screen, and the bat slipped out of his hand. Goes back to where Ronnie Fry is waiting on one knee. Kelly tries the handle of the bat. Steps up to the plate again. 1 ball, 2 strikes to count. Warnke stretches. There goes Wallyberger, and it's strikeout as Werber struck out swinging. No play, of course, has to be made on Berger, as is the third out. Side is retired. No run. 1 hit, no errors, and 1 runner is left. Well, there's 6 innings of the ball game out of the way. The first game of the doubleheader. Let's take inventory and see what's happened so far. The Reds have 3 runs. The Cards have 1. The Reds have 9 hits. The Cards have 6. Each side has committed 1 error. The Reds have left 7 men on base. The St. Louis Cards have left 10 men on base. Now we go to the first half of the 7th inning of the first game of the doubleheader this afternoon. There are some St. Louis fans in the crowd, apparently. A few of them are standing up. And by the way, the parking lot and parking lots around the Crosley Field will probably show you licenses from many, many states in this part of the country. On the way to the park this afternoon, riding along in a veritable parade on Western Avenue. On our way here to Crosley Field, we saw licenses from Illinois, Kentucky, Indiana, Michigan, Ohio, of course, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and did I say Michigan? And of course from Missouri. Slaughter, Medwick, and Mize are the first 3 batters to come up. As we we go to the top of the seventh. The score is Cincinnati 3, the St. Louis Cards 1. 2 games this afternoon. Here's the first pitch. It's across the plate in the outside corner. Good for a strike call. Slaughter, 1 hit and 3 times, and that is the next pitch. Strike 2 call in the outside corner. Nothing to do is the count. Thompson winds up again. It's outside. Ball 1. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Thompson winds up again as the next pitch. High. Ball 2, and the count is even up. 2-2. Slaughter batting left hand. 2-2. Here comes the lineup. Here it is. The high pop fly back up third base. Bill Weber goes over for it. He lost it in the sun apparently, and that's it for Lombardi to take, and as a result, nobody took it. Apparently, Bill Weber lost that. He started back for it. It wasn't necessary. Of course, that ball was fighting a breeze all the way out there. Rather of a strong one, too. Back at the plate again. Thompson gets the sign. Winds up. And here it is. Fastball is fouled back up into the upper deck. Misses the screen. Goes in over under the rafters. Now remains 2-2. New ball is thrown into Gene Thompson. Gene winds up. Here's the pitch to Slaughter. He swings and strikes out. Slaughter striking out swinging. So that error of omission went up to third base on that foul ball, did no harm. That is the second strikeout for Gene Thompson. That brings up Joe Medwick. Medwick is giving us pretty fair going over. The next pitch to Medwick is hit on the ground down the first base line, past first, out into right field, is thrown into the infield by Goodman, and Medwick pulls up at second with a double. Double to right. That brings up Johnny Mize. Mize has been up 3 times in the game. It's purposely passed in the first inning. Double to right in the third. And was thrown out in the corner unassisted in the fifth. Outfield plays around. Playing Mize as a full hitter. Here's the pitch to Johnny Mize. Low. Ball 1. 1 ball, no strike. That gives Medwick 3 for 4 so far this afternoon. 2 doubles and a single. Stretch. And here it is. Inside. Ball 2. Two balls. No strike. Thompson stretches. Here's the pitch. Foul up on top of the grandstand roof. Back of third base. Quite a scramble up on the roof for that ball. Hitler Bill McGee now starts warming up in the bullpen for the Cards. 2 balls, 1 strike to count. Here's the pitch to Johnny Mize. He hits the ground ball foul to the right of the plate. Rolls over to the stand. And the count is 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. All baseballs are brought out to umpire Larry Getz. 2 balls, 2 strikes to count. Medwick on second, 1 away, top of the 7th. Stretch by Thompson. And here it is. Foul back against the screen. Count is 2 balls, 2 strikes. Bill Shutout now warming up again for the Reds. Chicago Pittsburgh game this afternoon been called off because of rain. There's Thompson stretch. Here's the pitch to Johnny Mize. Ground ball falls. Back up first base. Bounces up against the shoulder of some copper, and they're leaning over the little barrier, the field seat. Thought it suspended. Checked it. One up down there got that ball. 2 balls, 2 strikes to the count. Thompson up the new ball. There's the stretch. Quick throw to second. Medwick was back in time, however, as Billy Myers sneaks around back of Medwick. Thompson whirled around through. Medwick dove back into the base. Joe leads off. There's the stretch. There it is. It's a curveball. Misses outside and low. Ball 3. 3 balls and 2 strikes. 3-2 is the count. Johnny Mize, big fellow, first baseman for the Cards, stands there at the plate waiting. Here comes the pitch. He lifts the foul back up into the upper stand. Now it catches the corner of the screen. Bigman still coming up to Johnny Mize. Thompson ready. Mize back at the plate again. Joe Medwick starts to lead off second. Here's the pitch. The high fly way up high in the air. Out into Joe right field. Fly goes back. Goodman comes in. Goodman calls for it. Takes it for the out. Johnny Mize hitting a little under that. Lifting it very high to Goodman. In short right field. As Goodman came in, Fly went out. But he called for it all the way in. Rather than have it. 2 out. That brings up Don Padgett. Padgett, 3 times up, no hit. Hit into a fourth play in the first, purposely passed in the third, hit into another fourth play in the fifth. Right in Lombardi is out there talking things over with Gene Thompson. For Cincinnati 3, St. Louis Cards 1. Little hidden ball trick out there, and it didn't quite work. There's the set by Thompson. Here comes the next pitch. Fastball is ball 1 outside. This is Don Padgett batting. First time he's at pitch 2. Again the stretch. Here it is. Strike 1 call. Let her on the outside corner. To Don Padgett. He swings it to the round ball out front of the plate. It's picked up by Lombardi. Lombardi throws the first to McCormick. He's out. Padgett down the out. Lombardi to McCormick. Side is retired. No run. 1 hit. No errors. And 1 runner is left. Now we go to the stretch half of the 7th inning with about 30,000 fans standing up. We just had the wire from St. Louis saying that they have a large delegation from St. Louis here at the park. Watch the game. Score, Cincinnati 3, the St. Louis Cards 1. Before you late units in, I'll give you the innings in which the scoring occurred and how they occurred. In the second inning, Lombardi, with Kurt Davis pitching for the Cards, led off with a double out to the right field bleachers. Harry Kraft singled to left. Lombardi pulling up a third. Berger popped out to shortstop Jimmy Brown. Teddy Myers then slammed a home run over the left center field wall, or to be exact, on top of the left center field wall, from which point it bounced on out, and 3 big runs were in. That's all the scoring has been done by the Reds. For the St. Louis Cards in the 4th inning, 3rd inning rather, with 1 away, Medwick led off with a single to center. Johnny Mize double to right. Medwick pulling up a third. Don Padgett was purposely passed, cutting the bases, and then Terry Moore begged to walk to force in the only run off Gene Thompson so far. Thompson started the game, is still in there, and for the St. Louis Cards, Kurt Davis worked an inning and a third, then Clyde Chow, who pitched to only 1 man, Bob Bowman, who worked 3 innings and allowed 3 hits but no runs, and Lon Warneke, who came in the 6th inning. This is the 2nd inning in which Lonnie Warneke is pitched. He goes to work on Ronnie Fry, Ivan Goodman, and Frank McCormick in the last half of the 7th inning. Ronnie Fry's been up 3 times, has a perfect day at bat. Sacrificing the first, a single to right in the second, and a walk in the 5th. Here's the windup by Warneke. A slow curve ball doesn't find the outside corner. Stays outside and high, ball 1. Warneke takes the windup again. Here's the next pitch to Fry. Curveball again fails to find the outside corner of the plate. It's ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes. Capacity house out here this afternoon. They couldn't get many more people in Crosley Field right now with a shoehorn. Here's the Warneke's lineup. There's a pitch to Fry. Fry swing. Hit the line drive at the right center that drops in there for a base hit. Defeated by Terry Moore, the center fielder in right center field. It's a single for Ronnie Fry. Goodman coming up. Goody up for the fourth time in the ball game. Fried out to Medwick and left center in both the first and second innings, then sacrificed in the fifth. Ryan first. Goodman batting left-handed, stands deep in the batter's box. Here's the pitch to Goodman. Goodman swings, hits a high foul back up third base. John Gutteridge races over toward the stands and going about 8 or 10 rows back in. Out of reach. Simply a high and loud foul. No balls, 1 strike to count. Sun again shining brightly and warmly. Goodman back at the plate. Little rhythmic clapping starting up down below. The fans want to see a rally get underway. Catches again, Fried leads off. Here's the pitch to Goodman. He takes it outside, ball 1. Choking up his bat, bringing in both Ron Warnke and Don Gutteridge pass. 1 ball, 1 strike to count. Gutteridge backs up to the edge of the infield grass. Stays about 2 feet this side of the skin part of the third base area. Goes in a little nearer. Warnke touches. Goodman looks down to third to see whether the bunt sign is on or not. Leads off. Here's the pitch. Goodman swings at the ground. Ball is taken by Warnke. Warnke throws to second. To Brown. Brown over to first to Johnny Mize, and it's turned into a fast double play. Goodman grounding to Warnke, who jumped high to get that ball on the bounce. Got it to Brown, who covered second. Brown to Mize. That's the second double play into which the Reds have hit this afternoon. That brings up Frank McCormick, who has an even 200 hits for the season. Backs up for the 4th time in the game. Thrown out by shortstop Brown in the first, single to left in the third, lined out to Terry Moore and center in the fifth. Warnke winds up. Here's the pitch, fastball, strike 1 call. Knee high on the outside corner. Brooklyn 5, New York nothing at the end of 3. Again, the windup by Warnke. Here's the next pitch. Misses outside, ball 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. 4 umpires for this series. Barry gets the plate. Dave Pinelli at first. Nick Campbell at second. And Beans Reard. Here's the windup. Here's the next pitch to McCormick. A slow curve inside. Ball 2. 2 balls and 1 strike. One strike, 2 out. Nobody on. That's the 7th. The windup by Warnke. Here's the pitch. Fastball just misses outside. Ball 3. 3 balls, 1 strike. McCormick having an itch on his left shoulder. Stepped out of the batter's box, reached inside of his shirt and scratched it, which is a very logical thing to do with an itch. 3 balls, 1 strike. Warnke winds up, and here it is. Fastball is fouled back toward the screen. Back end of the screen for that matter. Downside just started back. No chance for him to get it. It's 3-2. Padgett getting on his cap and mask. 3-2 is the count. Padgett in the crouch, back of the plate, gets the sign to Warnke. Long winds up, and here it is. It's a line drive going out toward left field. Medwick goes back toward the fence. It's going up against the fence. Good for extra bases. The throw is into second. McCormick slides, and he's in there. He's stayed up on his feet, although he started to throw his feet. McCormick doubling off the top of the left field wall. That would have been out of the park unquestionably had it not been for that headwind into which that ball was fighting all the way. And for McCormick, that is his 41st double of the season. Brings up Ernie Lombardi. Long has been up 3 times. They're going to pass him, I think. Yep, going to pass Lombardi outside, ball 1. Fans don't care much about that. I'd like to see Lombardi pitch, but that's about baseball. Next pitch outside, ball 2. This Lombardi has regained his batting eye after that awful 2-month slump he's been in. The National League pitchers and managers are treating him with a very wholesome and hearty respect. Ball 3 has been hit. Here's ball 4. So it's Lombardi on first, the second time he's been passed. That gives Lom a perfect day at bat with a double and a single. That double by Lombardi was his 26th of the season, and this double by Frank McCormick is 41st. That brings up Harry Kraft. Harry had 1 hit 3 times at bat. He singled to left in the second inning. Popped out to short in the third. Right out to right field in the fifth. Set by Warnke. Here's the pitch to Harry Kraft. He swings, hits the ground ball to short. Is second by Brown. Brown tosses to Stuart Martin, forcing Lombardi at second, and the side is out. Kraft, Brownie to Brown. Brown tossing to second baseman Stuart Martin, forcing Lombardi. Side retired with no run. 2 hits. No errors. And 2 runners are left. Well, there's 7 innings of the first game of this doubleheader out of the way. Cincinnati 3, St. Louis Cards 1. Gene Thompson goes out to pick up where he left off with Moore, Martin, and probably somebody to hit for Warnke as the first 3 batters. Bob Weiland, W-E-I-L-A-N-D. You fans down Rochester way will remember him, of course. Southpaw, warming up for the Cards. Moore, Martin, and someone to hit for Warnke are the first 3 batters to come up. Gary Moore coming up for the 4th time in the game. He grounded out to short in the second, walked in the third, walked again in the fifth. That's right-handed. Top of the 8th, Gene Thompson winds up. Here's the pitch. Ground ball right through the box. Out over second into center field. It's a hit. Rolls out to Harry Kraft, who fields it. And Moore is on first with a single. And the 8th hit off Gene Thompson. That brings up Stu Martin. Stu Martin's been up 3 times, no hits. Moore on first. There's the pitch. He swings at a fastball and misses for strike 1. The stretch. Next pitch is outside. Again the stretch by Gene Thompson. Here's the pitch to Martin. He swings and fouls it back off umpire Larry. Gets his chest protector and bounces into the crowd to the left. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Fastball is hit right in front of the plate, picked out of the air by Lombardi in foul territory and thrown down to first. Lombardi very smartly completing the play. The ball is called foul by umpire Larry Getz. 1 ball, 2 strikes is the count. Quick throw to first. Chases Terry Moore back. And here's the pitch. It's a high fly going out back of first base. Barney Fry goes over. Ivor Goodman comes in. Fry follows it into the bullpen and takes it back there. Fry, with the wind chasing that ball, went almost over to the right field seat. To pull that foul down. 1 away. Pepper Martin. M-A-R-T-I-N. Batting for Warnke. In the 8th inning. Pepper Martin batting. That's right-handed. Thompson throws the curveball inside. Ball 1. Inside a bit high. Bill Shelter busy warming up out there in the bullpen for the Reds. Bob Weiland doing likewise for the Cards. The next pitch. Fastball is high and inside. Ball 2. Gary Moore is on first, 1 away. Mike Gonzalez gives the sign. Whether the hitter takes. Here comes the pitch. Fastball high and inside. Ball 3. 3 balls to no strikes. Back. Stretched by Gene Thompson. Cincinnati 3, St. Louis Cards 1 in the top of the 8th inning with one away. Thompson stretching. Here's the pitch. Little low, ball 1. One ball and no strikes. Little note of apprehension in the crowd down below. Runners on first and second. Here's the next pitch to Jimmy Brown. Brown hits the line drive out towards center field. Harry Kraft moves over for it. He takes it. There's the throw in, and nobody attempts to advance. Pepper Mort was constantly standing right directly back of Moore at second, trying to give him instructions on what to do, and he had to duck back in a hurry. Brown lining out to Kraft in center field for the second out. That brings up Don Gutteridge. Don has been up 4 times, has 1 hit. Top of the 8th inning. Score Cincinnati 3, the St. Louis Cards 1. Runners on first and second, the stretch by Gene Thompson. Here comes the pitch. Curveball across the plate, way high for strike 1 ball. Brooklyn, New York tied 5-5 at the end of 4. Chicago at Pittsburgh, rain. Again, Thompson stretches. And here it is. Fastball, he swung and missed. Strike 2. No balls, 2 strikes to count. Gutter steps back to the plate again. Stretch by Gene Thompson. And here it is. Outside and low, ball 1. 1 ball, 2 strikes to count. Shelter is stopped warming up temporarily to look over proceedings. There's Thompson stretch. Here's the pitch to Gutteridge. Strike 3 call. Gutteridge is called out on strike. Side is retired. No run. 1 hit. No error. And 2 runners are left. And again, Gene Thompson gets a great hand as he goes down to the dugout. Players down there slapping him on the back as he comes down into the dugout. Now we go to the last half of the 8th inning. We'll have another new pitcher for the St. Louis Cards. Bob Weiland, W-E-I-L-A-N-D, in the 8th. In the 8th. 5 pitches have been used so far by the Cards. Davis, Shawn, Bowman, Warneke, and Wilder. Winning runs so far in the ballgame, if they prove to be winning runs, all off Kurt Davis. A home run by Billy Myers in that second inning after Lombardi had double to right and Kraft had single to left. Myers hit a home run that bounced off the top of the left center field wall. Bob Weiland, a southpaw, comes in to work on Berger, Myers, and Thompson. Wally Berger will be the first batter. 1 hit and 3 times at that. A total of 11 hits so far off the assorted offerings of Davis, Shawn, and Bowman. Wally Berger getting ready to step up to the plate. Cincinnati 3, the St. Louis Cards 1, first game of the doubleheader. I've just been informed that this is the only game of the 2 that will be carried on the network this afternoon. Bob Weiland pulls the rubber, winds up. Here's the pitch to Wally Berger, high and inside on a fastball. Ball 1. 1 ball and no strikes. Gets the sign. Weiland winding up again. Here's the next pitch to Wally Berger. The fastball, and he goes for it, following it back to the screen. For strike 1. 1 ball and 1 strike to count. Umpire Larry gets dusting off the plate. Weiland ready again. Berger waits for the pitch. Winds up. Here it is. Fastball. Berger hits the line drive out toward left field. Medwick comes in. He can't get it. It bounces in front is fielded by Joe. Medwick returns the ball to second. It's a single for Berger. That's his second hit of the afternoon. A single to left. That brings up Billy Myers. Myers gets a great hand. He's played well defensively, and it was his home run that put this game to the point where the Reds are out in front. Manager Bill McKechnie calls to Vince DiMaggio, rather, is running for Wally Berger. It's all in the same family. Vince DiMaggio. D-I-M-A-G-G-I-O. Berger gets a nice hand as he cuts over to the dugout. On first, running for Berger. Billy Myers up at the plate, one hit, 3 times at bat. A throw over to first by Bob Weiland finds DiMaggio only 1 step away from the base. He comes back in plenty of time. Here's the pitch. It's ground ball out towards second. Bounces off the chin of Martin. Hit him right in the chin. He feels it, gets it over to first, getting Myers, but bad hop that ball just spoiled the possible double play. Stu Martin throwing out Billy Myers, and listen to the hand Gene Johnson gets. Johnson stepping up to the plate with 2 hits and 3 times at bat. Stretched by Weiland. DiMaggio on second. Here's the pitch. Outside. Curveball staying outside. Ball 1. Not breaking enough to catch that outside corner. Gets DiMaggio with a short lead. And stretches his lead. Weiland throws. Outside. Ball 2. 2 balls to nose right. Looks like the Reds would look at Mort Cooper in the second game this afternoon. Fastball is lifted high to the right of the plate. Foul. John Padgett follows it over. The wind is blowing it. He gets it. Ball the second out. Thompson fouling out to John Padgett. The Solar Patch has looked awfully good on those fouls this afternoon. He's gone for several tough ones. Come down with every one that he's been able to get within range. That brings up Bill Werber for the 4th time in the ball game. Bill has no hit so far. He's up for the 5th time, actually. They're passing Werber to get to Lonnie Fry. There's the next pitch outside, ball 2. Here's the next pitch outside, ball 3. And here's the 4th one, ball 4. Werber is purposely passed to bring up the left-handed batter, Lonnie Fry. Fry has a perfect day at bat with a sacrifice, a single to right in the second, a walk in the 5th, and a single to right center 1, and the heart of the batting order is coming up in the top of the 9th inning. Slaughter, Medwick, and Mize to face Gene Johnson. Bill Schaffner immediately starts warming up, and Vince DiMaggio, of course, goes to left field in place of Wally Berger. Representing this broadcast this afternoon over the facilities of the Blue Network of the National Broadcasting Company, direct from Crosby Field. Enos Slaughter, up for the 5th time in the game, has 1 hit so far in 4 previous times at bat. That was the single to center back in the 1st inning. Thompson winds up. There's a pitch. Low, ball 1. 1 ball, no strike. Here's the windup. Here's the next pitch. Fastball is good on the inside corner for strike 1 call. The count is 1 ball and 1 strike. We're at the top of the 9th. Gene Thompson winds up. Here's the pitch. Strike 2 call on the outside corner, knee high. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Thompson drops the rosin bag. Throws the rubber. The right-hander winds up. Here it is. Fast curve. Struck him out. Slaughter struck out swinging. That's strikeout number 4 for Gene Thompson. Brings up Joe Medwick. Joe has bothered Thompson all afternoon. He has 3 for 4, 2 doubles and a single in 4 times at bat. Thompson winds up. It is outside. Curveball breaking too far outside. Ball 1. Thompson pitches quickly. Takes a little short windup. Then throws a fastball that's high and inside. Ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes. Into the rosin bag. Here comes the windup. Here's the next pitch. Strike 1 you call. Knee high across the outside corner. Here's the next pitch. Ground ball going down toward short. Bill Myers comes in, feels it, gets it over to first to Frank McCormick. Medwick is out. Rounding out short to first for the second out. That brings up pitch Johnny Mize. 2 out. Nobody on. Top of the 9th inning. Thompson winds up. Here's the pitch to Mize. Mize hits the line drive out of the left field, trying to duck out of the way of the ball. It rolls out to DiMaggio. He hits the ball so hard that even when he tries to duck out of the way of it, he hits line drive. A single to left for Johnny Mize. That brings up Don Padgett. Padgett up for the 5th time in the game, no hit. That's left-handed. Mize is on first. Here's the pitch to Padgett. Fastball is high. Ball 1. 1 ball and no strike. 2 out. Next pitch to Padgett, lifts a high foul out into the upper left field pavilion. Ball curves around, just misses the upper pavilion, drops to the lower pavilion. And the count is 1 ball and 1 strike. Padgett rolls back up to the plate again. Thompson stretches. And here it is. Fast curve is high and outside. Ball 2. 2 balls, 1 strike. Fiddler McGee starts warming up for the St. Louis Cards. Bill Schaffner warming up. Cincinnati. Ball is thrown out there for umpire Beans Reardon to look over. Beans decides it's okay. Gives it back to Gene Thompson. 2 balls, 1 strike to count. Mize on first. Padgett batting. Time is called. They're sending out a runner. Next pitch, this will not count. This does not count. No play on it. The ball is called back. It was a hit in the right center field, but it is not scored as such. Padgett is called back to the plate. Mize is called back to first. Time had been called when that pitch was made by Thompson. And a runner. Ray Blaze comes out to argue this. We're going to have a little dispute on this point. Fuzzy Ware is also the coach at first base. Mike Gonzalez is in there on the discussion. And the newspaper photographers here to get a picture of the goings on. While we have time here, umpire Larry Getz goes goes over and asks umpire Babe Pinelli. Yes, time had been called. And the protest is not allowed. We want to tell you that although we're not going to broadcast the second game of the doubleheader this afternoon on the NBC Blue Network, we're standing by to pick up a celebration in the event the Reds take both ends of the doubleheader this afternoon. And that will be broadcast over some of these stations. We can't tell you the time of that, of course. That's contingent on a lot of things, a lot of gifts in connection with that. So down Fletcher comes back, and the count is 2-2. There's 2 out. Mize. There's a runner in there running for Johnny Mize. They finally replaced him. Whoever he may be, running for Mize. There's 2 out, 2 balls, 2 strikes to count. John Paget at the plate. There's the stretch. And here it is. Tom Moore going down towards second. It's second by Lonnie Fry. Fry gets it over to first on the moment. There's your ball game. The Reds need to win only one more game of this series from the St. Louis Cards, and they are the 1939 champions. Now we've run a little bit overtime here. I want to total us up in a hurry and get off the air. The Cincinnati Reds, 3 runs, 12 hits, 1 error. The St. Louis Cards, 1 run, 8 hits, and 1 error. The winning pitcher is Dean Thompson. That is his 12th victory in the season. The losing pitcher is Kurt Davis. That's all we have time for this afternoon. This broadcast has come to you from the broadcasting booth in the press box at Crosley Field. Your announcer, Roger Baker. This is the National Broadcasting Company.